Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. If we're going to talk about try again, fail better, it's going to be powerful, it's going to be raw, and it's going to be real. We're going to dig deep into what it means to embrace failure, face it head on, and not just survive it, but thrive through it. Failure isn't the enemy, my friends. It's the path to becoming stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. Now listen, I know a lot of you here have been knocked down. You face failure, disappointment, rejection. Maybe you're even stuck in a place right now where you feel like you're on the edge of giving up. I get it. Life can feel brutal at times. But here's the thing, failure is not where your story ends. It's where your story begins. Let me tell you a secret that's so obvious it hurts. Failure is a requirement for success. Did you hear me? It's a requirement. There's not a single person on this planet who has achieved anything of significance that didn't first fail. And I don't mean they failed once and then magically succeeded the second time. I'm talking about failure after failure, rejection after rejection, setback after setback. But they kept going, and that's the difference. You see, most people think failure is the opposite of success. But they've got it all wrong. The opposite of success is not failure, it's quitting. You only fail when you quit. You only lose when you stop trying. If you're still moving forward, if you're still getting up after each fall, then you're already succeeding. You're failing your way to success. Let's think about this for a second. Why are people so afraid of failure? Why do we see it as something so shameful, so painful? It's because we've been conditioned that way. From the time we were kids, we were taught to avoid failure. In school, if you failed a test, it was a bad thing, right? If you made a mistake, you were punished for it. We've been programmed to believe that failure is something to be avoided at all costs. But here's the deal, failure is the most powerful teacher in your life. It's the feedback you need to refine your approach. It's the wake-up call that tells you, hey, something didn't work here, try again, but do it differently. Let's flip the script. What if I told you that the people who are most successful in life are the ones who have failed the most? Yeah, that's right. The more you fail, the closer you get to success. Every failure is like another brick in the foundation of your future. If you never fail, you're not pushing hard enough. If you're not falling, you're not growing. Look, I'm going to get real with you here. Some of you might be sitting there thinking, but Tony, I've failed so many times. I've tried everything and nothing works. I don't think I can take another hit. And I understand that. Trust me, I've been there. But you've got to stop looking at failure as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Every failure is an opportunity to get better. Every time you fall, you get the chance to stand back up with more strength, more knowledge, and more determination. You've heard of Thomas Edison, right? The guy who invented the light bulb. Do you know how many times he failed before he finally got it right? Over 1,000 times. Can you imagine that? Over 1,000 failed attempts. But when they asked him about it, do you know what he said? He didn't say, I failed 1,000 times. He said, I found 1,000 ways it didn't work. That's the mindset you've got to have. Every failure is just another way that didn't work, and it brings you closer to the way that will work. It's about resilience. It's about persistence. It's about deciding that no matter how many times you get knocked down, you're going to get back up. Because let me tell you something, success isn't about talent. It's not about luck. It's about who can take the hits and keep moving forward. It's about who can keep trying again and again, failing over and over, and still get back up with fire in their eyes, ready to give it another shot. Let's talk about Michael Jordan for a minute. You know him as one of the greatest basketball players of all time, right? But do you know how many shots he's missed in his career? Over 9,000. He's lost almost 300 games. He's missed the game-winning shot 26 times. And do you know what he says about it? He says, I failed over and over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. Do you see the pattern here? Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the path to success. Every time you fail, you're not starting over from scratch, you're starting over with experience, you're starting over with more knowledge, more wisdom, and more grit than you had before. But here's the key, you've got to fail better. What does that mean? It means learning from each failure. It means looking at every setback and asking yourself, what can I take from this? How can I grow from this? What lesson is here that I can apply moving forward? Because if you're failing but not learning, you're just repeating the same mistakes. But if you're failing and learning, you're getting stronger every single time. Now, let me share something personal with you. Early in my career, I hit rock bottom. I was broke, living in a tiny apartment, washing dishes in my bathtub because I didn't have enough money for a decent place. I had failed at everything I tried. I was depressed, out of shape, and felt like I had nothing going for me. But you know what? That was the moment when I made a decision. I made a decision to stop feeling sorry for myself and start taking control of my life. I realized that failure was not something that was happening to me, it was something that was happening for me. It was shaping me, molding me into the person I needed to become to achieve success. That decision changed everything. I stopped seeing failure as a setback and started seeing it as a setup. I stopped fearing failure and started embracing it. And once I made that shift, everything changed. I started taking massive action. I started learning from every failure. And slowly but surely, I started to succeed. Now, here's something important: failing better doesn't mean failing recklessly. It doesn't mean charging forward without a plan or ignoring the lessons that failure is trying to teach you. Failing better means being intentional. It means taking calculated risks. It means reflecting on your failures and making the necessary adjustments. It's about being strategic and smart in how you move forward. When you fail, don't just brush it off and try the same thing again, hoping for a different result. That's not how you fail better. Failing better means pausing, analyzing what went wrong, and figuring out how to improve. It's about tweaking your approach, refining your strategy, and then going at it again with a fresh perspective. That's how you fail better. That's how you grow. That's how you succeed. Let me ask you a question. How do you respond to failure? Do you let it crush you, or do you let it fuel you? Do you sit in your disappointment, or do you stand up and say, let's go again? Because your response to failure is what defines you. It's not the failure itself, it's how you handle it. It's what you do with it that counts. The people who achieve the most in life are the ones who have mastered the art of failing better. They're not afraid to fail. They're not afraid to look foolish or make mistakes. They understand that failure is just part of the game. They've trained themselves to see failure as feedback, as a learning opportunity, as a stepping stone to greatness. And that's the mindset you need to cultivate if you want to achieve extraordinary things. Think about it. How many times have you let the fear of failure stop you from going after what you really want? How many times have you stayed in your comfort zone because you were afraid to take a risk? How many dreams have you put on hold because you didn't want to face the possibility of failing? Let me tell you something, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself out of growth, out of progress, out of the life you deserve. The only way to grow is to stretch beyond what you know, to push yourself beyond your current limits. And that means you're going to fail. It's inevitable. But failure is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. It's a sign that you're pushing yourself, that you're taking risks, that you're growing. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. So let's get real for a second. Where in your life are you playing small? Where are you holding back because you're afraid to fail? Is it in your career, your relationships, your health, your finances? Be honest with yourself, because until you confront those areas where you're letting fear hold you back, you're never going to achieve the level of success you're capable of. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make a commitment to fail better. I want you to commit to pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, to taking risks,